Hello, lovely friend. I am Dr. Mary Barson.
And I'm Dr. Lucy Burns.
We are doctors
and weight management and metabolic health experts.
and this is the Real Health and Weight Loss Podcast. Hello, lovely friend. Dr. Mary here, and I'm really excited today as I am joined by a very special guest, the wonderful Carolyn, who I've actually known quite a long time. I have known this beautiful human as a patient before we even started Real Life Medicine. And since then, she has come on to Real Life Medicine and done one of our programs, our 12-week mind-body rebalance. And she has a wonderful story to share about her health. And so over to you, lovely Carolyn. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really well, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. Could you tell our lovely listeners a bit about you? Just tell us your story.
So I'm a mum, a wife. I'm actually a grandmother now, which is super exciting. So part of the reason to be healthy, yes. So I have a little granddaughter who I absolutely adore, of course. I've been living down the coast now, nearly 30 years, and we run our own business from home, which we're about to move into retirement, which is the next phase of our life. So it's even more exciting. So there's lots happening. I've always been sporty and I thought healthy and enjoyed, a good life, and living by the coast makes that so much easier for us.
Tell us a little bit more about your journey. You've joined our most recent round of the 12-week mind-body rebalance, which was in February. And I know that I've certainly have had a bit, at least, to do with you and your beautiful husband over the years. Can you tell us, what was the problems that you were having that prompted you to join this program and to sort of make some changes to your lifestyle?
Oh, gosh, my husband Peter met you, Mary, because our long-term doctor left and you arrived at our clinic, which was a blessing to us. And he's always had high cholesterol, and it's a family history of heart disease and so forth. But he's always super healthy, never overweight, ate what we thought was really well. And you pointed out to him with his cholesterol was his triglycerides. And you sent him home with a little Post-it and said, these are good books to read. So guess who got the Post-it and guess who started reading? Because I was the one that did the meals. He was working the longer hours. So for me, there was always this feeling of a bit of responsibility on my shoulders that if we couldn't get his triglycerides down, then it was on my shoulders that it was me. It was my cooking. It was what I was feeding him because I always did that. So good fat, bad fat, I read that. So I sort of toyed with stuff, tried to understand it, didn't really get it. He grew up on bread. He loves bread. Couldn't understand what I was saying, but didn't have time to read. Anyway, fast forward. I've tried a few things. I've never been a dieter. I wouldn't say I've ever had a weight issue, but then I hit menopause and I had plus size love handles, and Peter probably got a little bit of a love handle. Don't tell him I told you that. And anyway, so we actually went, I had a visitor and they told me how they'd lost this weight. And I said, how'd you lose weight? And they actually did it on a low carb diet. And I thought, well, I was reading a bit and never really understood it. And it wasn't your diet, it was another one. So we lost weight. And my husband's like, that actually working this low carb stuff. So a bit of a light bulb moment for him. And then we stopped that because it was too hard. It was count how many tomatoes went in this, do that. I'm like, oh gosh, that's too hard. And I'd sit every week and I'm like, I don't like their recipes. So I'd be searching for other recipes, wasting a lot of time. Anyway, so the weight crept back on. But then more for me was the menopause and the symptoms. And I found that I wasn't laughing and my skin wasn't as clear. My hair started to fall out and I was getting arthritis. I'm only 56. I'm not even 57 yet, 56. And I was feeling like something's wrong, I need to change. And I knew about seed oils, but I didn't know the facts. And I saw a dietitian and they saying, no, you can't have full fat, you've got to have low fat. And I was totally confused. So then Lucy popped up on my Instagram or Facebook about this menopause class. And I'm like, right, I'm listening to that. So I did. And I did. I sort of listened and I thought, oh, you know, more money, got to buy another package, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, stuff it, I'm going to do it. I said to Pete, I'm spending the money, going to do it. Oh, my God, it is so easy. It was just a blessing in disguise. I have more energy. I've lost, I can't believe this, I've lost nearly 9 kilo. And my husband is down to his football playing weight. But the best thing, we had our bloods done. His triglycerides are the lowest they have ever been. And it's just amazing. And also his blood pressure is coming down, even with stress and so forth. So the health change to both of us. My arthritis doesn't hurt like it was. I can walk the dog for ages. I can pick up my granddaughter and everything. It's just heaps better, heaps better.
Wow. Oh, that's so good to hear. And you guys have done so well. I love hearing all of those beautiful health changes. And I love hearing your story as someone who hasn't really struggled with their weight much until the metabolic changes of menopause. And that's a pretty common story, a really common story for women. And also so relatable is your role as this, you know, wife and mum and then grandmum, and how you had taken on the role of the family of, you know, providing the nutrition, and how you took that really, like, you felt the responsibility of that, taking it really seriously, and how you, even with wanting to do the right thing, reading, learning, seeing dietitians, you were still confused, like there was confusion there. And can you discuss, like, what helped you break through that confusion? You could talk about, you know, the course, the 12-week mind-body rebalance, or other things. What is it that helped you find some clarity, I suppose is what I'm asking.
It was just every week having something to, or listening to you mostly. I didn't read much of it. I listened to the weekly, the information that came through and stuff. And I've got a son who's a scientist. So it was the science behind it all. So it just made clarity. It made sense. I never knew that a potato becomes sugar. Like, how does that happen? But now I know how that happens. Like, so when we first started and I signed up, my husband was for it, he actually got really sick and had a very rare cancer diagnosis. And this was like in our first week. And stress levels were the highest they'd ever been. We spent 3 weeks unknown which way this was going to go for him. And thankfully, it's gone the right way, but he's had major surgery and so forth. So I'd sit there and I'd put it on loud for him to hear, because we couldn't go anywhere or do anything because he was sick. So he began to get an understanding, but it was having everything explained to us that actually made sense. And also the hypnosis. When things were really stressful, I would put my headphones on and I'd listen to it, and that's how I managed to sleep at night. And I think the hypnosis, I don't know, something's gone on in my head, in my subconscious, that's just made it all gel. And it's funny, I go get petrol now. I was saying to my current doctor, who was also low carb, and I was saying to her about, I go to a petrol station now and I think, oh my God, look at all the food here that we can't eat. Like, look at how bad this is for us. So, yeah, it's daunting to see that. And the other part of it was my kids, or my daughter and son-in-law, and they're like, so you're never going to eat a potato again? And I said, well, I only have to be good 90% of the time. I can have a little glitch. Like last night we had lamb and we had lots of veggies and stuff. But I love gravy, so I had a little bit of gravy. I'm thinking, I haven't had lamb and gravy for weeks. It's not going to kill me to have it. So I had the lamb and the gravy. And I just sort of think, okay, if I'm good most of the time, it's okay and it works. And the funny thing is, we went with them to the local brewery for steak night, and they had, so they ordered, and you get your steak, your chips and your salad for a bargain. So my daughter came up and she said, oh, can we have no chips and double salad? And I looked at her and I said, pardon? And she said, oh, yeah, we're on board, Mum. We're doing it now too. And I'm like, didn't have to tell them, but I think they could see the changes in us, not just physically but mentally, and how much easier things were and happier we were. And, yeah, so I just think the content, the way it's delivered to us, it makes it really easy to understand. And I love that there's science behind it, and it's not just someone on Instagram or Facebook going, you've got to have this, you've got to have that. And I actually had lunch with some girlfriends, and a lady was telling me about a natural product for menopause. And she said, oh, you should get it. It's really good. It's really good. So I looked it up, and it had all the things that it would relieve and the advantages of taking it. And it wasn't cheap. And I actually said to my doctor just this week, I said, she recommends this, but I don't have those symptoms anymore. They're all gone. The bloating's gone. The irritability, I think. Sometimes I'm probably still cranky. My husband might have a different opinion. But I actually find I laugh at TV shows I didn't laugh at before, and all those little things. So, yeah, it's brilliant. It really is brilliant.
Oh, you're brilliant. And it's this flow and effect to your wider family as well. That's so fabulous. I love that. I love what you said about, you don't need to be perfect, because you don't. You don't. It's what you do most of the time that matters. And you can make low-carb gravy if you want to, but you've also, if you have some floury gravy every now and again, my goodness me, doesn't matter. Nothing's going to happen. You're absolutely fine. Yeah, it's what you do mostly that counts.
Absolutely.
So I love how you've had this beautiful healthy transformation with the weight loss, and that you have also those menopausal symptoms have reduced. What do you think is like the best advice that you could give people who perhaps were suffering some of the same challenges that you were suffering as you entered menopause? Oh, and by the way, I did know about your husband and his cancer diagnosis right at the start. And that must have been really, really stressful. And it's amazing. And you should be so proud that you've made all these healthy changes despite all that stress. I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. The other thing that was a trigger for us is part of our reading was at Christmas time. We were reading, and, then the health scare came along, was about epic retirement and longevity. What was the book? Outlive, The Science of Longevity. And my husband, the funny thing was, he read that book, and then he goes, do you know that this is really bad for us? Or do you know that we shouldn't be having this, and we should be having a bit of protein? I'm like, what have I been saying for 5 years? So, but also too, in the beginning, because Pete didn't have a choice to do this, because I do the meals. So I love the mingle green curry. Oh my God, that is so good. But in the beginning, I said to him, this is what I'm doing. What do it's up to you. So I would do poached eggs, and I have my poached eggs on spinach now. It soaks up the yolk and it's easy. And he would have bread. He'd have a piece of toast. And then I'd say to him, so do you still want toast? He goes, yep. And then one day he goes, I'll try the spinach. So he has it on the spinach. And then every day I'm at poached eggs. Do you want it on toast or spinach? No, I'm on board. I'll have it on the spinach. And we'd make the curries. And I had probably not really good for him, but I wasn't cooking a heap of rice. I'd have a rice cup. And he'd have a rice cup with all the green curry. And I'd just eat mine with a spoon, so you get all the goodness and whatever. And now he's like, I don't want the rice anymore. So he just naturally, and I said, you don't have to do it. It's up to you. But he naturally could see the benefits himself, and he chose to make those changes himself. So, baby steps, I suppose. And for me, it was like I could see the science and whatever, and I thought, I am a bit of a, all-in sort of person. So, yeah, that's how it came about.
So fantastic. If you could sort of describe, how you're feeling before compared to how you're feeling now, what do you think have been the most significant changes for you and for Pete as well?
For Peter, it's he's always been extremely worried about his heart. He's had, every 6 months he has it checked. He's got a family history of heart disease. He's had the calcium score tests. He's had everything. And that has been a big pressure on him on top of stress of life. So I think for him, his heart results are just brilliant. So that is the biggest relief for him. For me, look, I think losing weight is the bonus, but it wasn't the goal. But to feel like I used to get out of bed and pause and think, okay, what's going to hurt as I step this morning? I just get out of bed now. But I think it's my mood is my big thing. And the biggest compliment I got was when Peter said to someone, because they were saying, what's the difference? Do you feel any different? And Pete goes, she's happier. And that's it. I am happier because I'm happier because my stomach doesn't blow up in the morning and by lunchtime I've got to take my pants off because they're too tight, but they were fitting earlier in the day, or, I'm not in pain, or I freaked out one day. It was early on. It might have been in the sugar reset, and Lucy made a comment about skin tags and insulin resistance. And I've never had a weight issue, and I thought, I can't be insulin resistant. I've got skin tags. And I was like, oh, my God, am I one of those thinner people that is unhealthy on the inside? But my skin tags, they're just shrinking, which is bizarre. But I actually, the lunch I had with girlfriends, and I said something to her, and she's a nurse, and she goes, who told you that? And I said, the doctors, and she's a scientist. So she's got to know the facts. Yeah. So, but I don't know if it's everything helping my mood or my mood helping everything else, but I'm just happier and in less pain and just feel really good about myself, and I find it's easy. I do enjoy cooking, but it's just simple cooking. And I actually had a discussion with my brother because people say, what are you doing? And I go, if it's in a packet, I don't eat it, pretty much. If it's processed, I don't eat it. I buy meat. I still have dairy. I love my latte every morning. I have a milk latte. I'm sorry, but I love it. I'm not giving
you don't need to apologise.
I still put a little bit of sugar in it. But I do that because that's what I enjoy, and that gets me through my day.
No, I love that. You don't need to be perfect.
I've fiddled around. I've taken my glasses to the supermarket to check out the milks, and hopefully I've chosen the best of the devils and stuff. But I love my latte, and it's 1 glass of milk a day. So, I do that. But I was talking to my brother, and it's actually going back to my childhood. And he's similar to this. And we grew up, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and we had no pantry. My mum was a cook. She actually trained in the late 50s, early 60s, late 50s it must have been, and she was a bulk cook, so she cooked at the hospitals. So our breakfast would be, when there was 6 to feed, it would be a big batch of scrambled eggs. We never had boxed cereal. We never had cordial. We never had juice. We didn't have a pantry. We had meat and veg every night for dinner. And it was our way of life. We never had pasta or we occasionally had rice. But even if we had a biscuit, it was a homemade biscuit. So you knew everything that went in it. So it's sort of going back to my childhood, and it's just that simple way of, grab a few veggies, and, you can do it nicer if you want to do it with simple stuff, but I'm not bothered. Like, it's just easy.
It's really interesting to hear about your childhood. You ate real food, and that's just what it is, and now you're eating real food again. That's fantastic.
I think society and media and promotions and food companies have got a lot to answer for, because I think I knew it, but it was just all the chatter in your head and everything on everywhere. Like, like I said, you go into the servo and it's like, oh, my God, like, it's eye-opening now, but they've just, it's all been forced upon us and confused us and everything. But, yeah. Clarity is there now.
Oh, clarity is there. Oh, I love that. Carolyn, thank you so much for sharing your story and being so candid and generous. It's very generous and very inspiring of you to share your story and this wonderful transformation that you've had and that Pete has had, and also flowing on to your daughter and son-in-law as well. And the whole world, I think this is if this keeps up, will soon be changed, which is wonderful.
I hope so. And the other thing I found too, and I know it's really hard for a lot now, is finances.
Finances, yes.
I actually find I spend less on food. We have less wastage and it just makes a difference. Like, meals go further. You're fuller with what you eat, so you don't need as much food. And, yeah, I think it actually is a cheaper way of eating, which sounds a bit crazy because people say, oh, meat's so dear, but if you're not having anything else for quite a while, well, you're full anyway. You don't need it. I actually think it's better on the finances.
Yes. So you're spending less money on food now, less waste, and so saving money whilst also, completely transforming your health.
Absolutely. And the environment, because my recycle bin's half empty most of the time. Like, it's just all those things. It's just a benefit for a lot of different reasons, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Benefiting your mood, benefiting your finances, benefiting your health. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
No worries.
Wonderful human. Was there any final remarks of wisdom that or advice that you would like to embark before we wrap this up? It's been such a wonderful, wonderful interview.
For anyone that's listening, don't wait 7 years like I did. Jump on board, spend the money, and you'll benefit immensely, and so will your family, and just enjoy it. And, yeah, I break it sometimes. I'm not to the T, but the benefits from, cheating every now and then have still outweighed anything I've ever done before.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. You are a beautiful human inside and out, and also you're very healthy on the inside now. You may have been a toffee, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. I don't know about that, but you're definitely a hottie, healthy on the inside and out. Absolutely. Now you're a total hottie. So thank you, wonderful hottie, for coming on today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's just wonderful. So thank you so much.
No, you're most welcome. See ya.
Bye.
The information shared on the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only. It is not a substitute, nor is it intended to provide individualised medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor can it be construed as such. Please consult your doctor for any medical concerns.